Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival.
All right, that was Forget About Love from the new album coming out by Joe-Bouchard, the original bassist for Blue Oyster Cult. And the album is called Strange Legends. So, Joe, it's good to have you on the show. Could you
Great
give
to
us?
be here.
So this is coming out on your own record label. What made you guys decide to do your own record label?
Well, we signed with a manager from California, and that's one of the first things he said. Myself and my brother Albert, who was the original drummer with Blue Oyster Cult, and he said that, after all these years, we're still very vital and very creative. And he wanted to create a way for us to get out our solo projects that would really, point out, the importance of our contributions to the legacy of the Blue Oyster Cult, and also spotlight on our new stuff. And that's what my new album is. And my brother's album will be out in the fall. And we got a few other projects planned for after that. So this is amazing. I can't believe they did it.
Nice.
In the middle of a pandemic, financial collapse.
Yeah.
And they want us. They must know something we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'd think with record companies having all the problems they've been having since digital came out,
Well, we negotiated and we got a really great deal. Very happy with the deal, and also this is sort of a modern-looking distribution company, so they have all the tools to get the word out in a modern way, not like the old record labels. The record labels would buy displays in stores, but you don't have to do that now.
No, that's for sure.
No, a couple, but it's just not. It's not like it was.
That's true.
Yeah, so far it's working out great.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about this album here. Who all is involved in
it's
its
a
creation?
Self-produced album. I sort of leaned on all my experience that I did making the Blue Oyster Cult albums, and I've done a lot of projects since then, and a lot of different bands I played with, and sort of I've drawn from all that experience to come up with what I think is the best album that I've ever done. And it's my sixth solo album, so they just keep getting better and better all the time. The drums on the album were played by Mickey Curry, who's an amazing drummer. He is the drummer with Bryan Adams, the Canadian star, and he's been doing that for years. But he also was the drummer for Hall & Oates, Alice Cooper, The Cult, Sonic Temple, one of the greatest sounding records that I've ever heard. So, and he just happens to be lives in the next town over from where I live. We're like neighbors.
Nice.
So, he came in and did a tremendous job in the studio, and you can hear it. You can hear it right away when you listen to the single. It's like, wow, this is very cool. And all of the tracks on the album are Mickey's drums, which is great. Yeah. I could have used my brother. He's a fantastic drummer, but I've been playing with him for 50 years.
Yeah, complete.
And actually, Mickey is Albert's favorite drummer. It's like favorite contemporary drummer, and Mickey loves Albert's playing too. So nice. There's a mutual admiration society with those two.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's all good, and the rest of the parts are mine. I call myself a multi-instrumentalist. I don't know where I found that in the dictionary somewhere.
Yeah.
And but I play the keyboards. I play a lot of guitar, the bass. Most of my other projects I just play guitar on, and I have other bass players like Dennis Dunaway from Alice Cooper, and different bass players. But and a lot of the fans, a lot of the old fans, says, "I wish you played bass." And I say, "You want to hear me play bass? Just buy my solo album, because it's a lot. I played a lot of bass on there, and it was really a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I enjoy the bass because I find it very sort of relaxing compared to, being the hyper energetic guitar player. The bass is kind of like it's my second nature. So
yeah, you can lay back with the drums and just focus.
Yeah, just if you put the notes where they're supposed to be, it makes everybody happy. So
yeah, really.
Yeah.
So I'm a guitarist and bass player and everything too, and one thing I noticed about the album, I got a chance to listen to it the last couple of days. There's a lot of really cool classic guitar tones on it. Did you do those digitally, or did you have the nice amps and the
it's a combination. I have a Vox, I have a Marshall. I've been able to collect some really nice guitars in the last 2 or 3 years. And I used a Fender Esquire, where I get the sort of Led Zeppelin tone, a lot of Stratocasters, but I also have a Les Paul, and it's kind of a business of mix and match. I just love guitar tones.
Oh yeah.
So and so I use the real amps with mics, and then I also use some digital effects, and the software is amazing for mixing or writing or whatever. I couldn't do this back in the 70s.
Oh no. Back
in the 70s, you had analog tape, and you couldn't do it at home. It was like really expensive to go to a real studio. Yeah. But now, with a beefy computer, and a few tools, and a pile of guitars.
There you go.
I'm cut off. I can't buy any more guitars.
That would be hell right there.
Well, you can't. See, I have like 7 guitars in my studio right now, and then I have a few more up in the attic. So I have to keep rotating them, to give them the love.
Yes.
If you don't give the guitars the love, they won't love you back.
That's true. That's true.
So I love my guitars. Put them on the workbench and massage them and give them the love they need.
There you go. There you go. Now, Blue Oyster Cult's known for just great riffs. I mean, like Godzilla, Cities on Flame, Burning for You, Don't Fear the Reaper. What was your favorite one to play live? What one?
Ooh.
Did you have a favorite tune?
Oh, I don't know. I would say Cities on Flame.
Yeah, that's a tough riff, man. I mean,
that's pretty.
You got to be on your toes.
Yeah,
with that one.
And but that takes me back to the earliest days of the band. It's just like a time machine, where if I start playing that song, I'm back. I'm 20 years old. I'm recording for the first time in a real studio. Excitement. It's a clever song too, because it was in the days when metal, heavy metal music was just coming out. So what you have with that riff, the verse riff, which is like real Sabbathy metal, and then you have the chorus, which is like rock and roll. So you have a
nice mix,
mix of metal and rock, and it was like one of the first songs to do that. So yeah, I'd say Cities on Flame would get my vote.
Cool.
Some of them are pretty hard to play, but that one, if you practice it enough, it's fine. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one of my favorite things is like Godzilla has that little bass solo in there.
Yes.
How'd that come about? Because, there aren't a lot of bass solos in songs, especially back then.
I wasn't big on bass solos. I was pretty much the guy who just kept the foundation, keep the thing going, make a nice groove. But once in a while, they would let me loose.
Nice. Nice.
And I would play a little riff. We knew Godzilla was going to be a really important song for us. So we worked on the basic track, just the basic track, for 2 days straight in the studio. And by the time we got to the best track, the one that you hear, I think it was take 54.
Whoa.
And so by the time you get over 50, you start getting no punchies, anything. I'll play anything this time.
Yeah.
And that solo only happened once.
Ah.
And it was like take 54. I played that one solo, and then we did a couple takes after that, but I didn't have the same vibe to it, So the producers luckily said, that's the one. And we went back and listened to it again and said, wow, where did that come from? Well, I don't know. I was just, I had to put something in there, and, I was ready to do anything at that point,
Yeah.
And, it's a great track. It is a great
Definitely.
track.
That hasn't aged at all.
Good riff. No. And they finally used it. They finally used it on a Godzilla movie.
Really.
We asked them for 30 years. Every time a Godzilla movie would come out, we say, yeah, you got to use our song. No. We're going to use Puff Daddy instead. Puff Daddy?
Really?
What?
Really?
So, but the politics of movie making is different from like the record business.
Yeah, definitely.
And but then finally they came to their senses. The last Godzilla movie, they did a cover version sung by the guy from System of a Down, which I really liked.
Oh yeah.
And then they put our song in the final credits of the movie, and it sounds great.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
Yeah. So who were some of your bass heroes back in the day?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Jack Cassidy.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, people don't, talk about Jack Cassidy that much because there's so many others. There's, Jack Bruce, John Entwistle, and they're all big heroes of mine, But
yeah.
I really like Jack Cassidy when he played with the Jefferson Airplane, and then he was with Starship, and he still plays with Hot Tuna.
Oh,
Yeah, he still plays with Hot Tuna even up to this day. He's a great bass player, very supportive, but also has a great style. And he plays chords and he plays all kinds of different riffs. But I like Jack. Oh, now can I add one more?
yeah.
Chris Hillman.
Ooh, from where?
Chris Hillman from the Byrds.
Oh, the Byrds. Okay.
Chris Hillman was a singer and mandolin player, but he influenced me a lot. If you listen very carefully to The Reaper, you'll hear some Chris Hillman influence.
Oh, okay.
And I got to meet Chris Hillman because he does a bluegrass show now.
Yeah.
He does a bluegrass show and plays with a friend of mine, so I got to meet him a couple times. And every time I see him, I got to tell him, man, your bass style has really influenced me, There would be no Reaper without, Chris Hillman's bass on a song called So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star.
Oh.
There's a lot of
I remember that
similarities between the two songs.
Wow.
So I think those two guys, McCartney was a big influence.
Oh.
He and Ringo, let's face it, he and Ringo just locked together in a very magical way. And that's what I tried to do with my brother, that we could lock together and get that